Alright, on to rendering. Let's clear this scene, that way we don't have such a wreck. If you go to the main bar, well, you can click on the reset button. Basically, this clears your scene. It's like closing Max and restarting it, except you don't have to wait so long. So, in order to render, we first need to navigate around our scene correctly and easily. Let's start with an object. A teapot is always fun and cliche. So click over here and we'll add a teapot real quick. There we go. Alright. Personally, I strongly suggest the use of a mouse, not a touchpad using 3ds Max. So first, let's start with panning the camera. By clicking and holding the middle mouse button and moving around, you can move the camera up, left, down, and right. Let's maximize this window so we can see a little bit better. All the way at the bottom right is this button over here, which I just use Alt-W. Either way is fine. Rolling the mouse up and down will zoom the camera towards its current target. The camera has a target, which is a point in space. Remembering this will help you to use the camera better. Holding the Alt key and holding the middle mouse button and moving around will pan the camera around its target point. Holding both the Alt key and the Control key with the middle mouse clicked in will zoom in and out more accurately. The fastest 3ds Max users use these as shortcuts. To sum it up, moving the camera involves using the middle mouse button along with the Alt and Control keys in different combinations. Play around with it and get used to it. If you want the camera to realign to its target with your current object, then just tap the Z button. Now, on to rendering. We're going to stick to a simple method of rendering in 3ds Max. Line up the current view to look at the object at a good angle. Along the top of the menu bar is a rendering section. In that, click Render at the top. Bang, just rendered. Rendering a single non-textured object will take no time at all. This window that popped up is known as the rendered frame window. From here we can quickly do simple renders and save them. The buttons along here save to almost any file format. Before rendering though, all settings should be checked first. So in the rendering menu, click on Render Setup. This window will help you customize most of the rendering parameters. Right now, we are set to render a single frame at 640 by 480 resolution. We can change this to any other ones, any more common ones, such as HDTV or, everyone does IMAX, of course. And from here, we can tell Max to also save to a location, which is always a good idea. So let's save it as Teapot 3 as JPEG. Be careful though, Max may override files of the same name without letting you know. Max may give you a warning, but this is a warning that can be disabled. You may not be the only person using the machine, which means that someone else may have disabled that option to warn you. So always be careful. When you're ready, hit the big render button at the bottom. And bang, it just rendered. Now 3ds Max has the ability to render using multiple machines, email you when it's done with a frame or the entire scene, and run executables when it's done. Like any part of Max, there are tons of ways to customize your setup to what you want. So I'm going to go over one more window. You don't have to follow what I'm doing right now. The window is called the rendering window. This window will show up while rendering, so I'm going to quickly make a extremely complex, ridiculous scene just to slow down my laptop. That way we can pause the rendering and I can show you it in progress. So I'm quickly going to make a planet of teapots. There we go. In case you're curious, I'm just moving the teapot while holding the shift button. Do not do this at home. Let's get a good angle on this teapot universe here. There we go. Alright, I just made 3,000 teapots. So, from this view, I'm going to render. And I'm going to pause it. Yes, let's confirm. Pause. Okay. I've now paused the render. This is the rendering window. This window will give you the statistics of your current render in progress. Max will try to guess how long the render will take to complete and what frame it's currently rendering. Unfortunately, it doesn't work so well with a single frame. On a multi-frame scene, it works pretty good, and it usually gets better and better the more frames you are into it. It's important to keep an eye on this if you're rendering a very large scene and you haven't looked at it in a while. It tells you what frame it's on, what percentages it's through, basically almost anything you want to know about the render itself. And that's pretty much rendering simplified. Let's render it up. Alright, there we go. World of Teapots. Fun.